I asked you guys to ask me some questions on YouTube, and so I'm going to answer some of these questions today. And yeah, I did break my microphone stand, so we're going to have to deal with me holding this like a moron just for today's video. So the first question was actually 3 questions by Dark Mode. And actually quite a lot of people ask these questions, so it'd be good to answer them right now. How do I stay consistent as a designer? To me, a lot of being consistent comes from wanting to be better than I was yesterday. And that's not just with graphic design, it's with pretty much everything in my life. So yeah, if I try and make myself better each day or week, I kind of remain consistent in the sense that my output or my quality doesn't drop. Now, how do I stay motivated? And this one is a pretty tough one for some people. Basically, if you don't have passion for something, your motivation is eventually just going to burn out and you'll get burnt out. Pretty much. But a big thing for me is adding value to people. So here on YouTube, the motivation that keeps me going is that I'm adding value to the graphic design community. And in graphic design, you don't want to be making designs that, cause a company to go bust or anything like that. You want to be adding value to your clients, which is really important, and it will help your work flourish. And this is something else quite a few people ask, is how did I start designing? Well, back in school, I was interested in arts and I wasn't that good, but I wasn't too bad either, And one of my best friends, he was actually better than me at arts, spoke about graphic design one day and I didn't have a clue what it was. So I found myself researching graphic design and then taking it in college after I left school. And the rest is history, of course. Entropy Sir asks, how would I learn and practice graphic design if I was starting out in 2023 from scratch? And how do I plan consistently for projects? Now, if I was starting out in 2023 from scratch, I would probably take a few courses in graphic design, but also in marketing because that's really important these days. And I'd watch a hell of a lot of YouTube because I've actually learned quite a lot of stuff on YouTube outside of graphic design. But if I was starting out again, there are 2 main kind of routes that I see as a graphic designer. The first one is being very niche and being very kind of precise about my craft. I follow loads of people on Twitter and other social media platforms that have a really niche style. Their work is their identity. And when you get into that situation, you can build a community around your style and your work. And then you can kind of leverage that to make money in different ways. And the other route is actually acquiring graphic design skills and then using them in different ways to start different businesses or different side hustles and just make money from different various revenue streams. And to plan projects consistently, I use Miller Notes, which is something that I've been using for a long time now. And I do believe strongly in using it to plan out my YouTube videos, my graphic design projects, and other things too. Asian Gamer asked about cracking Adobe Illustrator. No, that's illegal, my guy, and you probably shouldn't be doing that. But there are, of course, free vector programs out there for you to use like Inkscape and Vector to name 2. But if you want to go ahead and steal something, that's up to you and that's on you, of course. Baristan Bear says they're curious about what I practice and whether it's valuing my self-care, my time or food, and what also comforts me. How I live today is very different to how I lived in my teens and my early 20s. These days, I meditate, I practice mindfulness, I work out, lift weights, I go walking, hiking, all that kind of good stuff. And I think if you take care of your body and your mind, the rest of your life just improves because of it. It's kind of like a symbiotic relationship. When it comes to food, I'm a huge foodie. I consume about 3,500 calories a day on average. And I'm not exactly, large or anything like that. But I've actually got an autoimmune condition where my immune system is so hyped up, it actually attacks my own body. And that means I do get quite tired, I do burn a lot of energy. But it also means I've got lots of trigger foods that make it worse. So eating's kind of problematic for me, even though I do love food so much. I try and eat whole foods because processed food just isn't great for you for various different reasons. And as for what comforts me, being present and being aware of the power of the present moment is hugely comforting to me. I don't drink coffee, I do like tea, which I guess makes sense because I'm British, but yeah. Tea is a big comforting thing for me as well. In terms of hobbies, I like hiking a lot, I like reading, writing as well actually, and also finding ways to make money as well as trading like stocks and crypto and stuff like that. Visakif? I really butchered that one, but anyway, this person asks, they say thank you for the great videos, no problem, but they ask how important is presentation and communication when working as a graphic designer? The answer there is it's pretty important. Often a great design isn't going to sell itself. It needs explanation, it needs context, and you need to kind of persuade the client that this is the right choice, this is the right design. But also you need to know how to speak to clients in a proper way. And if you feel like you're someone who needs to brush up on this, of course you can read some books on it, you can watch some videos on it, but the best way to practice is to talk to strangers and to get comfortable talking to people you don't know. So yeah, go out and talk to some random people. Maybe not the weird ones, but just go out and talk to people. That will help. Jeff asks, where do I get inspiration from to do my work? Well, I do this really weird thing without even trying, and that is when I'm just falling asleep or just waking up, or sometimes even in my dreams, I'll think of an idea or I get inspired to do something. And so I have a pad next to my bed that I jot down ideas if they do come to me when I'm asleep or in between sleep, so to speak. But apart from that, I get inspired pretty much everywhere. I might see some typography on a YouTube ad, something like that, or I might see, a social media account or something on Pinterest. But whatever it is, I do save my inspiration somewhere to refer back to later. Cool Hass says that making the pizza dough is the science, but making the actual pizza, well, that is art, my friend. What parts of graphic design are the science and which parts are the art? That's an interesting thought. Graphic design, especially the corporate design, is a methodical kind of process. To really excel in that field, you need to understand certain psychological points on humans and how the mind works. And that's because the designs you make are essentially visual communication and people perceive that in different ways. The artistic side comes from how to package that information, how to package that communication. And the best designers are the ones who are more creative in terms of the concepts and just how to go about explaining or sending out that visual communication. But yeah, you don't have to be good at drawing and painting to be a graphic designer, far from it. Icy Side asks, I'm 37 years old and last year I changed careers and now I'm going to graphic design school. I'm terrified. Yeah, it's normal to be apprehensive, of course, when anything new is on the horizon, but don't allow the fear of the future, which doesn't exist right yet, affect and impact the present moment, because there's no need for that to happen. They go on to ask, what advice would you give somebody who essentially is starting from the bottom in this career? Now, this is what I say to anybody who's just starting out in graphic design. Learn the principles, master the principles until you can actually see them at work in examples of graphic design already out there. Once you have a firm mastery of the basics and the principles, then you can move on to great things. And as someone who's starting a design course like you are, it'd be a great idea to brush up on the basics on YouTube so you go into the course kind of ahead of other people. And eventually you will find your passion in graphic design. It might be typography, it might be package design, it might be UI design. But when you find that thing, you can really start to hone in the skills towards a direction. But yeah, so just brush up on the basics and then go to your design course or your class with an open mind and just enjoy it and just make new connections. Also, I suggest to anybody who's getting started in graphic design to actually take an online course or just do some reading on marketing. Marketing is so important these days simply because of social media being a huge free marketing tool. It can really help designers get a foothold and get a firm position in the design world. Dusty Old Hat, some of these names are pretty random, but Dusty Hat says, what are my thoughts on AI being able to replace the human graphic designer? Well, firstly, yes, certain jobs are going to be taken by artificial intelligence, and it's already happened and it's happening right now. In the design world, that's probably going to mean that the lower level designers who don't have any skills really are going to be completely wiped out. You know, there's people who design really terrible logos for $5. That kind of person isn't going to be required in the near future. There essentially will be fewer graphic designers, but the ones left who can actually make decent design for the time being will make decent money, because at least for a few years, I think human-made design is going to be something that businesses do actually want, for the time being anyway. However, if we say that most designers, hypothetically, will get completely wiped out, it will actually open up the door to new opportunities and new jobs that we can't even envision right yet. The truth is often somewhere in the middle, so I don't think it's going to be like no threat at all. But at the same time, I don't think it's going to be the end of the world or the end for designers. People thought the same thing when computers came into being, 40 years ago. It's all about pivoting and adapting with the times as they change so you can stay ahead of the game. And on that note, I think I'm going to go buy a microphone stand because yeah, this just feels stupid. Do you sometimes feel like your work is lacking that special something? Maybe you'd really like to acquire a new skill to boost your designs and take them to the next level. Today's long-term friend and sponsor of this channel can really help with just that. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of online classes and thousands of members across 150 different countries. It's a place you can truly become inspired and pick up new, relevant skills. And that's perfect for taking your designs from 0 to 60 faster than me pouncing on new free fonts. Now, I myself saw that I wanted to pick up a few motion graphic skills in my free time, and so I took this class by Andrea on making a glitch text animation effect, and I found the 4 bite-sized lessons were just a piece of cake to get along with, even for someone who's inexperienced with motion graphics like myself and someone who's really busy with a tight schedule. With a Skillshare membership, you can actually engage with your creative hobbies and your interests all year long. So make 2023 the year you perfect a new creative hobby, land a new career, or launch your own business. Now you can try Skillshare for yourself with a risk-free 30-day free trial. The first 1,000 people who use the link in the description box below will get a 1-month free trial to Skillshare using the tracking link. Yeah, and that link is just down in the description box below. But anyway guys, if you want to watch something useful to your graphic design career, just click the video on screen, and until next time guys, design your future today. Peace.